Ladies, let me talk to you real quick, heart to heart, because one thing I know for sure is this: a woman's silence is one of the most misunderstood, underestimated, and misjudged powers she has. Everybody thinks silence means you're weak, or you're confused, or you don't know what to say. Nah, when a grown woman goes quiet, that's strategy, that's clarity, that's self-respect talking without making a sound. See, a lot of you were raised to believe you got to explain everything. Explain your feelings, explain your worth, explain why you're upset, explain why you deserve better. But here's the truth. Every time you over-explain yourself to a man who ain't even earned the right to understand you, you lower your value without even realizing it. Silence is not about ignoring him. It's not about manipulation. It's about alignment. It's about choosing peace over chaos, dignity over desperation, and standards over struggle. Silence is how you protect your heart, your energy, and your self-worth without arguing, begging, or proving anything. The right man will understand your silence. The wrong man will be threatened by it. And that's exactly why these 6 silence rules matter. Because when you learn when to be silent, how to be silent, and why silence works, you stop chasing love and start attracting real commitment. You stop training men to treat you casually and start inspiring them to show up with intention. You stop reacting and start leading from feminine power. This isn't about playing games. This is about emotional elegance. This is about self-control. This is about knowing you're the prize and moving like it. So sit back, take a breath, and let's talk about the 6 silence rules that will make a man think, miss you, value you, and chase you like crazy. Rule number 1, silence after disrespect. That's your power switch. Ladies, let me break something down to you with the kind of honesty only Steve Harvey would give you. The moment a man disrespects you, your silence becomes the loudest, strongest, most unforgettable response you could ever give. Not yelling, not cursing, not paragraphs of explanations, not tears, not let me tell you how you made me feel. None of that hits the way silence hits. Silence after disrespect is not weakness. It is not fear. It is control. It is you flipping the power switch back into your hands. Because the minute he crosses that line, whether through words, tone, inconsistency, attitude, comparison, or disrespecting your worth, he expects something from you. He expects a reaction. He expects emotion. Men anticipate the storm. They prepare for the argument. They prepare for the debate. They prepare for excuses and explanations. But what they're not prepared for is nothing. Absolute, calm, unbothered, self-respecting nothing. See, your silence forces a man to sit in the mess he created. It makes him hear his own words. It makes him replay the moment he slipped up. It makes him look at himself without the distraction of your reaction. When you argue, he focuses on your reaction. When you go silent, he has no choice but to focus on his actions. And ladies, that alone is a power move. A man can dismiss a woman's anger. He can ignore her tears. He can deflect when she explains. He can twist her words in an argument. But silence, he can't dodge silence. Silence sits with him long after you've walked away. It haunts him. It follows him. It interrupts his peace. He could be laughing with his boys, but somewhere in the back of his mind, he's wondering, why isn't she reacting? Why did she go quiet? Did I push too far? Is she done with me? Does she not need me? Ladies, that inner panic is the beginning of accountability. When a man disrespects a woman, he's subconsciously checking her boundaries. He wants to see how far he can go, how much you'll tolerate, how deeply you'll bend yourself to keep him. But when you respond with silence, you're sending one clear message. I don't negotiate my value. You're telling him you're not afraid to detach. You're not afraid to remove access. You're not afraid to step back and protect your peace. And that shakes a man more than any words ever could. Silence is a mirror. When you stop talking, he sees himself without your explanation, softening the truth. And trust me, Men don't like what they see when they've messed up. That's why silence after disrespect often makes a man come back with clarity, humility, and effort. Not because you manipulated him, but because silence made him confront his own behavior. And guess what? Your silence also teaches him how to treat you. Words mean nothing if a man knows he can disrespect you and still have access to your time, your energy, your emotion. But when silence enters the room, he realizes this woman will walk away from anything that disturbs her peace. She's not clinging to me. She's not scared to lose me. I'm scared of losing her. And that is the moment the power shifts. Ladies, your silence also protects your dignity. Because when you react in anger, you end up saying things you don't mean. You give him more power. You give him more confidence. You give him an opportunity to flip the script. But silence is grace. Silence is maturity. Silence is emotional intelligence. Silence is you saying, I don't have time to match your energy. You can argue with yourself. Your silence is also therapy. It gives you a moment to breathe, think, process, and decide what you truly want without the pressure of defending yourself in the heat of the moment. It allows your mind to clear. It lets you choose your next move with strength instead of emotion. And let's be real, silence after disrespect removes the audience. It stops the show. It takes the fuel out of the fire. A man arguing with a silent woman looks and feels foolish. He can't continue. He can't escalate. He can't dominate. He's forced to step back and rethink. When you go silent, you don't lose anything. You gain clarity. You gain control. You gain self-respect. And he gains the understanding that your love is not unconditional at the cost of your dignity. Silence says, I'm not begging for what should be natural. I'm not arguing to be valued. I heard what you did, and now you're going to sit with it. It is your pause. It is your boundary. It is your power switch. And when a woman learns to use silence after disrespect, she never forgets how powerful she truly is. Rule number 2. Silence when he pulls away. Let him miss Uber, ladies. Listen closely, because this right here is where so many women lose their power without even realizing it. When a man starts pulling away, when he gets distant, quiet, distracted, or suddenly busy, most women panic. They start asking questions, overthinking, checking on him, sending long messages, trying to fix what they didn't break. But let me tell you something that'll save you years of heartbreak. When a man pulls away, your silence is the only thing that makes him come back with intention. See, men pull away for all kinds of reasons: stress, confusion, fear of emotions, pressure, life problems, or sometimes just their natural instinct to retreat and reset. Men are like rubber bands. They stretch away to return stronger. But when you chase after him the moment he stretches, you interrupt that process. You snap the band before it has a chance to bounce back. That's why so many connections fail. Not because he lost interest, but because he didn't get the space to realize he actually misses you. Your silence in this moment is not punishment. It's not revenge. It's not manipulation. It's emotional strength. It's you saying, I'm not going to force what should be natural. I'm not going to beg for time that should be offered freely. Silence gives him the mental room to recognize your value on his own. Because let me tell you something about men. They don't think about what's constantly present. They think about what suddenly disappears. When you get quiet, calm, and focused on yourself, a man starts to feel the shift. He notices the peace where your presence used to be. Your absence becomes a weight. He starts asking himself, why isn't she calling? Why didn't she double text? Is she mad? Did she move on? Did I mess up? That discomfort he feels, that's awareness. That's longing. That's the beginning of missing you. And here's the thing, when he pulls away and you respond with silence, you give him something powerful, the gift of realization. He begins to understand what you were giving him, your effort, your attention, your consistency, your softness, your presence. A man can only appreciate what he had once he feels what it's like without it. Silence makes him taste that emptiness. But when you chase, you rob him of that experience. You make it too easy. He never feels the loss. Without that feeling, he has no reason to return differently because you made your presence unconditional. Your silence also communicates confidence. When you don't chase, a man reads it as, she's secure. She's not dependent on me. She has a life. She's choosing me, not needing me. And men are drawn to women who don't crumble just because they take a step back. Your silence tells him that he is an addition to your life, not the center of it. And trust me, that's attractive. That's rare. That's magnetic. Another powerful thing silence does, it protects your dignity. When a man pulls away, chasing him can make you feel small. It makes you act out of fear. It makes you accept crumbs. It makes you bargain emotionally. But silence keeps your self-respect intact. Silence says, I'm not going to lower my standards because you're confused. Silence says, if you want me, you'll step up. Silence says, I'll match your energy, not your insecurities. Your silence also gives you clarity. It gives you the space to feel your own emotions without reacting impulsively. It allows you to see the reality of his behavior. When you go quiet, you stop romanticizing him and start observing him. Does he reach out? Does he make effort? Does he return when he's ready, or does he stay gone? Silence reveals a truth that noise would have buried. But let's be honest. Silence is attractive. It creates mystery. It creates curiosity. When a man doesn't know what you're thinking, where your mind is, what you're doing, or how you feel, he starts thinking about you more. That's just how they're wired. Men chase clarity, they chase certainty, they chase access. But silence temporarily takes that away, and that makes him want to earn it back. When he pulls away, what he expects is your reaction. What he doesn't expect is your peace. That's what shocks him. That's what wakes him up. That's what makes him realize he could lose a woman who handles herself with grace instead of panic. Your silence is not you disappearing forever. It's you stepping back long enough for him to step forward willingly. And if he doesn't, then silence becomes revelation. It shows you exactly who he is and what he's prepared to give. A man who cares always comes back stronger. A man who doesn't, your silence helped you dodge years of misplaced loyalty. Silence when he pulls away is not about winning. It's about aligning. It's about letting him meet you at your level. It's about giving him the opportunity to choose you with clarity instead of convenience. And that, ladies, is how you let him miss you deeply, genuinely, naturally, without ever having to say a single word. Rule number 3, silence and mystery. Don't explain yourself to a man who isn't your husband. Ladies, let me tell you something, Steve Harvey style, real and unfiltered. You do not owe every man an explanation. Not where you're going, not what you're doing, not how you feel every second, not why you didn't reply fast enough, not why you were busy, not why you didn't pick up the phone. A man who has not earned the right to your transparency is not entitled to your every detail. And the moment you understand this, you step into a whole new level of power, because mystery is not manipulation. Mystery is value. Mystery is self-respect. Mystery is the quiet language of a woman who knows her worth. Men are wired to chase what feels rare, what feels different, what feels slightly out of reach. And mystery, the right kind of mystery, creates that. It's not about playing games. It's about not giving unlimited access to someone who hasn't proven he deserves that level of closeness. So many women fall into the trap of over-explaining because they want to appear honest, loyal, trustworthy, or committed. But what ends up happening is you become predictable. You become easy to read. You become an open book before the man has even decided if he deserves a library card. Let me break something down. When you reveal every thought, every move, every detail too early, you take away the excitement of getting to know you. You remove the natural curiosity that makes a man lean in. You tell him everything before he earns the right to hear anything. Silence. Strategic silence keeps your essence intact. It tells him, if you want to know me, you've got to show up for real. You've got to invest. You've got to commit. You've got to stay consistent. Mystery doesn't mean being sneaky. It doesn't mean hiding things to hurt him. It means you are selective, not secretive. You are intentional, not unavailable. You are private, not distant. Every high-value woman in this world understands this. Your privacy is your protection. Not every man deserves access to the personal corners of your life simply because he's interested when you stay silent about things that are not his business. Yet you create an unspoken boundary. I am not yours to question until you have become mine to trust. That's the difference. When you don't explain every little thing, a man starts paying closer attention. He listens more. He watches more. He studies you. He becomes curious. He wonders what your life is like. He wonders how you think. He wonders what your dreams are. That curiosity becomes emotional investment. An emotional investment is what makes a man fall. The moment you become predictable, a man gets comfortable. And comfort kills effort. But mystery keeps him showing up. It keeps him wanting more. It keeps him trying. Men chase mystery not because they love trouble, but because mystery forces them to engage, to participate, to earn. Think about it. The most powerful women in the world don't talk too much. They don't overshare. They don't give updates. They don't justify themselves. They move with quiet confidence. They allow people to discover who they are, layer by layer, moment by moment, action by action. And that creates magnetism. It creates allure. It creates charm. It makes a man feel like he's uncovering something special, not something desperate to be known. Explaining yourself too much also creates pressure. It makes you look like you're seeking approval. A man starts feeling like you need reassurance for everything. But the woman who stands tall, calm, and quiet in her own choices sends a different message. I don't need permission to be me. I don't need validation to make decisions. I don't need approval to exist. And that, ladies, is what makes a man respect you deeply. Silence in mystery also protects you from being misinterpreted. When you talk too much, you leave room for your words to be twisted. But silence is whole. Silence is clean. Silence can't be argued with. It can't be criticized. It can't be turned against you. A man will never forget a woman who made him work to earn her truth. A woman who didn't reveal her entire life in the first 2 weeks. A woman who kept some things sacred. A woman who didn't move like she was auditioning for the role of his girlfriend. Because the truth is, a woman who gives too much too soon makes him feel like she doesn't value herself. But a woman who holds her silence carries an aura. A calm, quiet mystery that tells him, I belong to myself first. And that is irresistible. So don't explain where you're going. Don't justify why you didn't respond instantly. Don't narrate every detail of your personal world. That level of access belongs to a man who has proven consistency, effort, commitment, and emotional investment. A man who has earned the title of husband or something close to it. Silence and mystery doesn't push men away. It draws the right ones closer and keeps the wrong ones out. Rule number 4, silence during his ego moments. Don't compete. Let him reveal himself. Ladies, if there is one thing you must understand about men, it's this. A man's ego is a whole different creature. It has moods, phases, triggers, and moments when it tries to run the entire show. And these ego moments don't always come from arrogance. Sometimes they come from insecurity, stress, pride, or fear. But no matter where they come from, your response determines everything. Because when a man steps into his ego, the most powerful thing you can do is stay silent, stay calm, and let him reveal exactly who he is without you lifting a finger. See, during an ego moment, a man often starts talking big. He starts acting like he knows everything, like he's unfazed, like he doesn't need help, like he's stronger than he actually feels. He may brag, he may boast, he may show off, he may get defensive, he may try to prove himself, or he may suddenly get cold and distant. These are not reflections of who he truly is. They're reflections of who he thinks he needs to be in that moment. But here's the key. If you meet his ego with your ego, you get conflict. If you meet his ego with explanations, you get arguments. If you challenge him directly, you trigger him more. If you try to out-talk him, he shuts down. But when you stay silent, when you let him talk without reacting, when you don't try to fix, argue, prove, or compete, you create the space for him to drop the act. Because ego feeds on reaction. It feeds on attention. It feeds on resistance. If you push back, the ego pushes harder. But if you stay still, the ego eventually collapses under its own weight.